morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our 8th annual White Ribbon Breakfast. Before we get started, I will provide a brief overview of a few specific features for those who are not as familiar with Zoom. Throughout the event, all attendees are going to be muted to help us avoid any potential background noise today. If you have any questions or would like to communicate with the host throughout the event, we just ask that you use the chat feature. You can find this icon at the bottom of the screen. When you click on the chat icon, it will bring up a sidebar where you'll be given the option to choose who you'd like to chat with. We ask that all questions for our Q&A portion please be directed to Alicia Pete, Communications Manager, and all the other comments or technical questions can be directed to myself. Lastly, at the top right hand of the screen, you'll see you have the option to view the event in gallery view or speaker view. If you're not currently viewing in speaker view, you can switch to this setting so that you can automatically see whoever is speaking. And thank you, everyone. I will now introduce Suzanne Dubus, Chief Executive Officer of the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. On behalf of my colleagues and the Board of Directors, it's my honor to welcome you to our first virtual White Ribbon Breakfast event. I hope it's our only one because as wonderful as it is that we have this technology, I much prefer to be in a room with you all. So we know these are difficult and uncertain times for everyone and that every one of you has been impacted by this pandemic in some way or another. It means so much to us that you are here this morning, taking the time to join us in support of our mission to empower individuals and engage communities to end domestic violence. First, I want to take a minute to recognize and thank our top sponsors, including the Institution for Savings and Bob's Discount Furniture, the Bazargan family, the Beveridge Foundation, the Patriots Foundation, the Walsh family, MK Bonati Jewelers, Enterprise Bank, New York Giants Football, and Jennifer Rocco Runyon and Jacqueline Bennett at Bennett & Company. So for the full list of sponsors, please refer to our official event webpage. We're so grateful for their support and we ask that you support them. Additionally, many thanks go to our foundation supporters, the folks that help support these prevention programs in the schools year after year. They include the Amesbury Educational Foundation, the Mary Alice Arakalian Foundation, the Saab Family Foundation, Charles F. and Marianne Small Charitable Foundation, the Friendship Foundation, the Women's Fund of Essex County for their leadership support of our Youth Empowerment Services program. And of course, I want to thank Dick Bazargan, who leads the committee in planning this event. They did an admirable job planning and shifting gears in this time of uncertainty. So on behalf of the entire Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center, we thank you for your support today. So the Massachusetts White Ribbon Day campaign is part of an international campaign asking men to be allies in ending gender-based violence. It was originally created by a handful of Canadian men who decided to take action after one man's massacre of 14 women in Montreal. Sadly, this is no longer the deadliest killing spree that Canada has seen. I'm sure many of you have seen the recent story that happened in Nova Scotia. It started with a domestic violence homicide and it turned into a deadly mass shooting, killing 22 people. Domestic violence affects millions of people in the United States each year. Data shows that 1 in 4 adult women and approximately 1 in 7 men in the United States will experience severe physical violence from an intimate partner during their lifetime. But I don't need to read a bunch of statistics to tell you that violence against girls and women is the problem. Whether you're reading the local newspapers or watching the national news, streaming the latest documentary films, or listening to a podcast, you can learn about this crisis facing our country. So this morning, we're going to shift a bit. With the unprecedented events happening in our world due to COVID-19, we've decided to shift our fundraising efforts for this White Ribbon Breakfast. Typically, 100% of the proceeds from this breakfast fund our youth prevention programming in local area schools. But given our current reality with schools closed until the fall and the greater need faced by domestic violence victims during this crisis, we will allocate a portion of funds raised to support crisis intervention for survivors. Survivors are finding themselves in increasingly challenging times, many in quarantine with their abusers and often with no alternatives. There is a scarcity of resources and financial setbacks that are causing concern for many, and that means tensions are increased. The virus itself can be used as a tactic to monitor and control a partner's behavior. Someone who has been physically abused may not seek medical care because they're afraid to become infected with the virus. And the virus is impacting domestic violence on many levels and in many layers. With this in mind, a portion of funds raised will also help survivors who are currently facing greater isolation, anxiety, and increased risk to access free and confidential services provided by the center, including safety planning, counseling, legal services, and support with the cost of living expenses, including food and other necessities. So I want to tell you a little bit about how our morning is going to be for the next hour or so. Hold on, please. So please take the time to watch the video presentations on our event page, including an inspiring talk from Rakim, also known as Rock Lash, of A Call to Men, an organization that educates men all over the world on healthy, respectful manhood. You can also hear firsthand experiences from Amesbury High School staff and students, and listen to our Youth Empowerment Services Program Director talk about our programming and highlight a few of our members. You will hear from a delightful young woman named Rumi talking about really what Girls Inc. has meant to her. And today we're asking for your help. We have several donation options available, which you will find on the White Ribbon event page. Your support will provide needed funding for youth empowerment programs that are currently operating virtually and will be fully up and running when schools reopen, hopefully in the fall. These programs include Healthy Masculinity, Gender-Based Violence Prevention, and Girls Inc. of the Seacoast area. Donations will also help survivors, including support for our 24-hour crisis hotline, services from our advocates for safety planning, legal assistance, and mental health, and financial relief for essentials like groceries, gas, rent, and other necessities during this pandemic. Please know that anything you can do to help survivors during this unprecedented time will be greatly appreciated. And thank you for your continued support.